finally meeting with a potential grant seeker after a very busy week, so come take a look. Hi. Yeah, it's great to meet you.
I can never stop.
My name is Mary Pappenheimer, and I am the program officer for the Neverland Dreamers Foundation. I've been a program officer for 11 years now. To begin to explain what I do as program officer, I should first explain what a foundation is. So, a foundation is essentially a large body of money, or the pot of gold at a rainbow's end. And my job as program officer is to act as the guardian leprechaun to determine who gets a cut of that gold and how much each cut is worth. My primary role as the program officer for the foundation is to actively avoid the 7 temptations, aka the 7 deadly sins of philanthropy. Succumbing to any of these sins could annihilate my effectiveness as a program officer and turn the dreams of the Neverlanders into nightmares. As a program officer, I will read letters that literally open with, "What a delightful, sincere, knowledgeable individual you are." And although those things are absolutely true, that is not something that a grant seeker needs to mention. In order to be a successful program officer, I have learned to discount a majority of the praise from those outside of the foundation.
Few grant seekers are so bold as to disagree with me to my face. So, little constructive criticism coupled with a perpetual supply of flattery inevitably lead to a growing sense of entitlement and inflated arrogance. In order to avoid this tempting sin, I have a friend in the office that meets me every Monday morning at 8 to say, "Remember, you are not God." That usually does the trick. This temptation is really an overreaction to the first two. Sometimes I am tempted to consider every compliment, no matter how sincere or how well intended, as immediately suspect. Sometimes I think they only love me for the money I might give them. And when this happens, I slap myself in the face. I say, "Mary, no. You is smart, you is kind, and you is important."
Some program officers I've worked with in the past have considered the corpus of the foundation as their own property, which is dead wrong. What you have to keep in mind when fulfilling this job is that the foundation exists solely to fund projects that will advance the common good. Thus, the bulk of the foundation belongs just as much to those who are seeking it as to those who are dispensing it. I have seen one too many program officers in my day believe that no applicant is worthy of funding. As a program officer, my business is making decisions about who gets money and who does not. With this, I must make difficult decisions daily. And unfortunately,
many are disappointed by the decisions I make. When reviewing the numerous proposals, one could overanalyze and find faults in everything. In order to be competent in my position, I must have a good head, be able to critically analyze proposals, as well as have a good heart, being open to creative and daring ideas. Contrarily, all heart and no head decisions are troublesome as well. Big-hearted grant makers see worthiness in every proposal, often draining their funding to unsuccessful grants. As a program officer, you simply have to accept that you will make difficult decisions that disappoint good people. Although program officers are over-fatigued with work, with answering phone calls, with responding to all letters, with completing complex requests, the most important thing is that program officers are held self-accountable. Although settling for mediocre requests that are easy to fund is tempting, a program officer should never take such a lazy approach. Excellence in grant making is no accident. It is only achieved by a lot of hard work. It's 10 p.m. Finally leaving the office. If you want to know what the true life of a program officer is, well, it usually includes me coming home after work, doing more stuff in my bed with 1 to 2 cartons of ice cream. One element that many people don't think would be important to consider, but is very critical to the effectiveness of my work, is assessing what a grant seeker should expect from me as a program officer. Program officers consider this to be the grant seeker's Bill of Rights. Again, these being the most important things all program officers need to honor in dealing with applicants. All grant seekers have the right to receive a clear statement of the Foundation's funding interests, the right to have all communications answered, the right to an explanation of and timeline for the Foundation's proposal review process, the right to a receipt of and prompt acknowledgement of a proposal, the right to have all proposals fully read and seriously considered, the right to have a timely and unambiguous funding decision, the right to receive an explanation of the reasoning behind funding decisions, the right to have all requirements for the grant relationship clearly spelled out in writing, the right to have all reports completely read and carefully considered, and the right to know if continued funding is a possibility. So, in order to avoid both the 7 deadly sins and respect the grant seeker's Bill of Rights when fulfilling my job, it's pretty universally accepted that any decent program officer have the following 6 qualities. 1, integrity. 2, people skills. Boom. 3, both analytical and creative ability. Sense of balance and proportion, except no proportion control when it comes to ice cream. Most importantly, compassion. The true life of a great program officer is that they have the strength of character to resist philanthropic deadly sins. They have a strong respect for the rights of the grant seekers they interact with every day. They possess innate integrity and the ability to listen carefully and communicate well. They are able to be at the same time creative and critical. They are imbued with a spirituality that informs and renews them, and they have an internal gauge that keeps all of these elements in an effective balance. But overall, the top-notch program officers finish not one, but 2 cartons of ice cream in one sitting without shame. So that, people, is the true life of me.